Hello, my name is Matthias Cavodi. I'd like to welcome you guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the first new X-Men annual written by Grant Morrison and fantastic art by Lionel Francis Yu. And one particularity of this annual is this weird format it came out, which back then when I first got it, I really hated it. It just didn't work for me. And I was going through my collection, came across this annual, and again, I really didn't like it. I sat down to read it. It just doesn't work for me. It's just a personal thing. Maybe other people think it's a really great idea. It does work with the story, like Francis Yu's art. It doesn't hinder Francis Yu's art, but it just feels weird. But this issue is actually pretty relevant. A lot goes on because first and foremost, Cyclops and Emma Frost sort of start the relationship in this issue. This is where basically Cyclops' marriage starts falling apart. Like during the new X-Men run, since his body was possessed by Apocalypse, like in the first couple of issues and also within this annual, it's like they refer to that Cyclops isn't the same guy. He came back different. And we have the X-Men. They're on a mission in Hong Kong. So Cyclops, Emma, Beast, and Wolverine go. Jean Grey stays behind. And what they're investigating is this new group organization called the U-Men, that are headed by this guy called John Sublime, are sort of in cahoots with the Chinese government. They're up to no good. They're trafficking mutant organs. But the whole thing of the U-Men is that normal people implanting mutant organs and body parts to get powers and become like this new third species. So mutants are disappearing left and right. We get to see John Sublime, that he's actually a really interesting villain. He's tied to the Weapon Plus and Weapon X program. And later on, we find out that John Sublime is actually like this weird mutant evil bacteria that takes host bodies and has a real beef with mutants. And so, but that we're going to learn years later. These are the U-Men, the dudes that fuse themselves with mutant body parts and sometimes get powers. But they have to sort of isolate themselves from breathing normal air and stuff. So they have these really cool suits, like Francis Yu's art. These guys look awesome. So what happens in the story is also that I forgot to mention the introduction of the character Xorn. That during Grant Morrison's run and afterwards, they went all over the place. First, Xorn was Xorn. Then he was Magneto posing as Xorn to infiltrate the X-Men. Then another Xorn popped up. We get retconning of the story because the real Magneto was still alive. And then a retcon of the retcon. Xorn's backstory is a mess. But the character, aesthetically, he looks really awesome. He's really interesting. His power sets, the dude has a star in his head. And then there's another brother Xorn that has like a black hole. So basically what happens, the X-Men start investigating the Chinese military. They start discovering that they're up to doing good. You get these all weird zombie guys. I'm not sure if Xorn is responsible for mutating people and creating these grotesque monsters. Here's another thing about this particular edition, that the advertisements go sideways on these instead of going like that. So it looks terrible. I wonder if the American editions had these same issues. So these weird grotesque monsters really let you get really creative artistically. Look, that looks fantastic. It's a terrible thing, but this happened here in Argentina. They split the annual in two parts, the bastards. So I had to pay 2 times for this monstrosity. So what happens at the end, the X-Men find the government secret base where they discover that they have this secret mutant that's been kept under wraps all these years. Basically, Chinese military is using this guy Xorn, who has a star in his head, inside his head, as like a doomsday weapon. Here we have Jean Grey sort of realizing that things are not right with Scott, sort of wondering what's going down with Emma Frost. She leaves. He said, "No, I'm going to sleep," and then Emma Frost goes in. Said, "I want some action." So, obviously, at the end of the story, the X-Men do rescue Xorn. They convince Xorn not to create a black hole and obliterate Earth, because up until this moment, humans have been really shitty to Xorn, and he's really pissed off. But he says, I'll give humanity a chance. And later on, he's going to join the X-Men. And then we're going to get a big mess of with his backstory and stuff like that. But this character, I find him still fascinating. So what do you guys think about Xorn? What do you guys think about Grant Morrison's run? What do you think about this messed up format? And it's embodies what I've talked about in previous videos about Grant Morrison's run. So a lot of things that I loved about the run. I loved how he shook the X-Men lore up and made a lot of interesting things that stuck around in the X-Men universe, and then a lot of really weird decisions that just didn't work for me and I hated them. So see you guys next time. Bye.